In the world of crypto, a story's told anew. Gleec's made a move for the Komodo crew. A deal for 23.5 million in hand to acquire the tech across the land. They bought the brand, the suite, the core, and opened up a brand new door. The DEX, the token, all the devs, a cross-chain stack that now Gleec wed. Oh, Gleec and Komodo, a brand new start, a fusion, playing a different part from atomic swaps to a regulated plan. Now they're partners hand in hand. No more bridges, no more fear. A new frontier is finally here with Komodo's tech and Gleec's might. They're gonna shine and burn so bright. They're gonna shine and burn so bright. No more wrapped assets, no more risky chains, just native swaps to ease the pains. They're dodging hacks, they're dodging strife with Komodo's atomic swap life. They've got a debit card and an IBAN. The future's looking like a master plan. The CEO said this is the key to wider compliance for you and me. Oh, Gleec and Komodo, a brand new start, a fusion, playing a different part from atomic swaps to a regulated plan. Now they're partners hand in hand. No more bridges, no more fear. A new frontier is finally here with Komodo's tech and Gleec's might. They're gonna shine and burn so bright. They're gonna shine and burn so bright. The KMD token, what will be its fate? The community will have to wait. Integration by 26, they say, to light a brighter, better day. Exodus made a big splash too. This is what the new world do. DeFi and finance start to merge upon a brand new hopeful verge. So raise a glass to the deal they made. A cross-chain engine sharp as a blade from Estonia with all their might. Gleec and Komodo, a future bright. Yeah, future bright. Yeah, future bright.
Welcome everyone to this week's Komodo Town Hall. I'm sure most of you are aware of the big news regarding the Gleec acquisition, and you have a bunch of questions and stuff to ask about where's Komodo going in the future, what's happened to the KMD coin, and so on. And today our special guest here is CA333, the CTO of Komodo. I'm sure you're all familiar, and he will be answering a bunch of the questions that we've gathered from the community. LooTz gave them to me a little bit ago, and so yes, let's continue on. And CA333 will hop on and kind of give an update about the situation and what's all going on, and give some clarity to
Sure,
the
sure. Yeah. Hey, how's everyone? So yeah, I mean, as outlined in the post already in the Discord channel, we basically came to a deal, to an agreement with Gleec, which really enables them to take over the whole tech, basically the core tech stacks, the team members, everything that wouldn't have been able for us as the Komodo organization, to sustain. They were willing to take that on and basically fund future development. I mean, first of all, I want to say, and that's something I said from the beginning, right? I mean, it's not the end. It just marks kind of like a new chapter. And I think, if you have the choice, right, something's gonna just, die and that's it. There's no utility, no adoption, right? I mean, the metrics, the numbers speak just for the situation. I don't have to outline that too much, but, for an organization like Gleec that have resources, that do have, like a framework that they built over the years that enables them, with an extended runway, with energy, to continue with evolving the Komodo technology stacks. And I think that's like the key. The key was really take the team on, and yeah, so that really wraps up the entire situation. It doesn't mean the tech is dying. It doesn't mean like, tomorrow the wallet will have like a KYC or whatever. I mean, it remains peer-to-peer technology, like still non-custodial stack under the same GPL v3 license. As for the other like tech stacks, most of them are like out under MIT license. And yeah, for those who know, license schematics and everything, it's open source technology, right? I mean, obviously, sure, Gleec has the team. They have the manpower. They decide what's gonna happen in regards to what are we adding to the tech, what are we changing, enhancing, how is the end user product gonna look like. These are kind of, like business vision and business model specific questions that, are just simply put none of our business anymore. So, but yeah, just to be clear, I mean, Komodo is, it's not the end. That's one thing that I believe, like with the community sentiment, kind of like gave the feeling, people think, okay, that's it, it's game over. But no, I mean, in my eyes, Komodo's pretty much like at the bottom, right? Like totally, from any regard. So I mean, I believe it's a good thing. Otherwise, I definitely haven't been, like okay or happy with this move. And again, I think, most important aspect is, look at what can realistically cause the adoption of these technology stacks, the actual use. And there's already like community forks out, so when people not happy with how something's being dealt with or done, there's gonna be alternatives. It's like with every other, like open source technology stack. And yeah, I mean that really is the summary. If you have like, any specific questions, happy to dive into that. But the gist of it, yeah, is really it's a positive, outcome, and I think it's something very good for, yeah, just the future of both the technology and the team. That's literally some of them been working on this for 10 plus years.
So yeah, there's a bunch of questions from the community here, then. So I'll just start going through the list. So the first question that a lot of the community has is around the KMD coin itself. They're wondering, will it become worthless, or will it somehow be diluted with Gleec's coin, or will there be a new coin that combines the two, or something of that effect? Has Gleec made any indication what it plans on doing with the KMD coin?
Sure. So there's been like multiple options they were considering and thinking about, and they figured, okay, the best step for now, the best decision is to keep KMD as a coin, an independent asset, and just integrate it into their like ecosystem. Komodo is already like supported on the Gleec exchange, the GleecDEX. So it's really just, like fully adaptable within that like specific ecosystem. And right now it's an own independent asset. There's various like options and paths, and things that were discussed, such as a swap, or, like doing a coin merge. Then other options were probably like transforming it into another type of asset, or on top of the Gleec chain and platform. So as you see, there's like so many different like options, but it's gonna be up to them to kind of like make a final decision. What we know is, they've integrated into their ecosystem, and that's a great thing already, because you have the needed maintenance, someone who's looking after it, after like the chain, and yeah. So for now, things are just as is, right? Like it's like, KMD is still there, it just changed the home.
All right. So next, we have a bunch of questions about Gleec itself. So can you tell us more about the Gleec project and where its funding comes from, and what was exactly the benefit of this exchange that was done where Gleec took over Komodo?
Sure. So, I mean, Gleece themselves, they're, a well-regulated and like extremely well-licensed, I'd say like hybrid, platform provider within the crypto, the DeFi, like more generally, but also like the CeFi slash TradFi, like sectors and layers. And just to give you like an overview, I mean, they have MSP license, in Canada. They're like FSP licensed in New Zealand. They have like, from virtual currency exchange licenses to cross-border transactions licenses. They have crypto custody licenses across various countries, right? Ukraine, Poland, Estonia. I mean, multiple countries in which they are like well regulated. They run centralized exchanges, so they have an already operating environment and framework. And there's more than just like one CeFi platform that they operate. Now they're focusing heavily on the DeFi stack, as obviously visible with this acquisition. And they have the funding. Yeah, right. Like, I mean, I'm not part of that company. I'm not affiliated with it. I don't know, right, like which specific revenue streams or which specific funds are used to fund the team, etc. As for the question, or the part of the question referring to the benefit, the main benefit really is, as aforementioned, that they will take over the tech to continue to build on top of it, to take over the team that's extremely skilled but also not cheap. So these are the main benefits, right? Like, in my eyes, you could look at the financial value by them, like taking on a team, that's again like not cheap. It's expensive to operate a team with that calibers of developers and like DeFi and crypto experts and engineers. I mean, it took between half and a full decade to to build such mindsets, to together evolve into that kind of this extremely well structured, like an extremely like just technologically skilled team set. I think that's the biggest asset of the Komodo platform, the technology part and this entire acquisition. If I was Gleec, I would look at it the same, right? Like taking over the team. That's the win-win situation here. It's an extremely like great benefit for them, but then also like for the team to have again a structure and organization that can sustain like a team development, DeFi evolution literally. And these are really like the key items here to answer your question.
All right. So the next question is about dpow. What does this acquisition mean for chains that are protected with dpow, like Pirate and Marmara?
Yeah, so to remove that depot overhead from the KMD chain, but also to allow the depot protected assets to be fully self-reliant and like independent, we decided to migrate to depot 2.0, which is basically a self-referential checkpointing system where your network, so just look at Gleec, for example. It's a UTXO chain based on it's a Bitcoin fork or a KMD runtime fork, and they're enjoying the security benefits of dpow. So what we'll do is basically allow Gleec to just set checkpoints into its own blockchain without having to use an overlay chain like in our case like KMD, and KMD then into Litecoin. So we're making the change just being able to set checkpoints or kind of notarizations, if you want to put it like that, right? Like basically the analog to notarization, and that would then also protect the chain from malicious reorganizations towards like a specific block spacing, say I don't know 5-10 blocks, something like that. We'd have to see what the different like block times are for these chains. And so there's a handful of chains where we will be proactively assisting and supporting them, and also like gonna ask them like what's the path you want to take, because there's probably more than just like one option, just like dpow 2.0 in regards to how they can protect themselves, but we will proactively assist and support them. For Pirate, I mean, that's the case. The Marmara credit loop chain, we also figured we'll probably open a PR there or send them over the commit chain and instructions on how to quickly change that, and just run a hard fork where they chain will then be basically self-referential, and this is kind of like the summary of it. Yeah, so in simple terms and a few sentences, it's basically the ability to run kind of notarizations on your own against your own chain and then validate against these notarizations, aka the checkpoints. And then a malicious actor couldn't reorg beyond that state.
All right. Yeah, it's good to hear that the chains will still have some measure of protection. I know it's the pirate community has been wondering a bit about that, because there's several mechanisms that could be done. So another question here has to deal with James, right? So how does JL777 fit into this purchase that just happened? And how does he feel about these changes that are being made.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he definitely, was very surprised and everything, but he also thought that the deal is KMD, the coin itself, didn't, and we agree like on this, myself and then even though I'm not fully accounted towards a founder, but the founding members, some of people we respect very well and long-term veterans within the KMD ecosystem, there were exchanges, and if you had to basically decide or choose between, okay, you're facing really a radical scale down because market's not looking good, economic situation globally just generally doesn't look too good, and James always tries to be like super like responsible when it comes to them, and like looking kind of like in a long term sight and view, and figured, yeah, it wouldn't be sustainable, right? Like a speculative development funding for a prolonged time where you in the end you just like burn all the funds, while they could be used to further support the wider ecosystem, do other things with it, build up a yield based revenue stream, etc., etc. And so yeah, and then when the opportunity with Gleec came, to us it was kind of, okay, great, we have someone that's willing to take that team on to further like fund the development of it, and it kind of allows like the vision to live on, and like something that would be like very hard, right, like to achieve just like from within our situation. I mean, even like from like a legal standpoint, if you look at Gleec's possibilities and ours, there's like two different worlds. And I mean, you could fight over that, right? Like if okay, you were fully decentralized peer-to-peer tech, didn't even have real entities and legal structures set up on top of it, etc. But again, it goes well until it doesn't, right? Like this works until it doesn't, and when you face these legal issues, things can really become like very ugly very fast, and that's something we always try to prevent. There's a lot of players in the space, and you all know at least 1-2 examples that had like serious trouble. And it's not like we're like anonymous development team or whatever. No, we're all fully doxed, and we have to be careful. We wanna like push the ethos that was the main reason for most of our team members to join this ecosystem. But there's just certain legal boundaries which you just you can't overstep, right? Like there's a couple things in life you don't want to fuck with, and these type of authorities and these regulative layers are one of them, right? Like if you want to run a project, you want it to be kind at least technically successful and not like face legal issues and being sued and whatever. You have to play by these rules. It's just very, very simple. So for James, I'm sure mixed feelings, right? Like I mean, from one side, damn, it's something that you built up, from the ground, and it was just like a vision. But then you have to face reality at some point, and that's what we all did. And I think it was the most responsible like thing you could have done in that situation. And of course it was kind of like hurting, and giving away all that control, all that tech, which is power, which really is power, right? Like I mean, we're looking at something that's worth a lot. If we just look at the research and development costs and everything that was invested into it, right? But again, if Gleec would have said, okay, we just take all the tech and everything, we pay you something, and we would have said no, obviously, right? Like so the key deal here, really the key part, is like the team, and that's also something that James, Noah, and the others that we talk to. I mean, also the team members, like it's just we're very happy in the end, because it's been taken as a very, very positive step, like obviously. And yeah, I hope that the community is able to see that, right? Like to look at the positive aspects of this, and these concerns of, okay, is KMD dead now? I don't think. I think this is even like kind of like a revival to it, from a certain perspective, because it definitely, if he was fully alive before, I don't know, that question, I'm not sure if I would like answer with a yes, but right now I can say it's alive.
All right. So the next question here has to deal with the ICO funds. Like people are asking, how does this affect the ICO funds? What's happening to them, and how much is left?
Yeah, so this is not gonna, affect them like in any way. ICO fund's still something, that James and Noah and like the founding members like control. And I mean, I'm sure, and I know, and I mean, we can all see that James has always over the years, basically supported the wider ecosystem. So I'm also like very sure that this is, gonna continue. The exact number, I I mean, was last time we checked, it was 20 million probably US dollar equivalent, something around like those lines. But yeah, again, I'm sure that JL and the guys will continue to support the wider ecosystem. And yeah, again, Komodo has a new home. We all gonna still support that layer. But I believe like the financial benefit in regards like to those funds is something that's gonna probably go into the wider ecosystem, right? I mean, there's a lot of there's one, two, right, like projects that really like doing well. And so yeah, I mean, it's up to them, at the end of the day. I've explained this a couple times, in the past, that this shouldn't be mixed with, something like a share based, like a structure, where anyone would have like claims in these funds or whatever. I mean, we all, I mean, at least myself, I was, a participant of the ICO and did a substantial investment back then, and that were my KMD. As far as I remember, there weren't really. I mean, James did a lot of like bounties and supported all of us like a lot over the years, but there was not this traditional team allocation where everyone got some percentage from the coins. And yeah, I hope this kind of like answers the questions. Also clarifies that everything they've been doing, really, like James and Osh and the couple of well respected ecosystem members slash whales, like some refer to them. That's all voluntary, at some point. Most of them are anonymous or pseudonymous. You really don't know who's behind it, and yet like these people keep like supporting the ecosystem, the wider ecosystem, and really like to all the second generation projects, right? Like Verus, Pirate, R. I mean, that stuff we all support. We tried like from all the angles that we can support it, and with just everything that's in our power. Yeah, so to answer that question, yeah, I hope that kind of like clarifies everything. And yeah, we so basically KMD, and no, the acquisition didn't take that funds or kind of something like that. Like it would be in some acquisitions where they would just like allocate the project pot and everything that's there over. This is not the case with this acquisition. Really, it's not a non-traditional, like technology stack and team structure acquisition.
All right, and there's a couple questions about the DEX here. One is the swap contest going to still continue, and will the 9.3 release be out soon, or are we waiting for Gleec regarding that?
Yeah, so I mean, we will push a final release. That's the one thing we will do, and just to kind of like sunset that era and that chapter. And moving forward, Gleec will do release. As far as I know, they're working on that. Like working on the branding of the code bases, and they're again. So they're already really like taking the team, allocating these resources, towards the development, and the permissionless access to these technologies. So we'll see Gleec do a release very soon. And again, it's basically, and that's really the beauty of this is, it's, the people who built this tech and the people who already hosted it and distributed it through the various distribution channels, right? The app stores, the web layer, and everything. And it's going to be the same, right? Like, so it's something that I'll personally be fully trusting, because I'm not part, right, like of the acquisition. So I won't be, like able to have like, technological control or something in these stacks. And yet I'm, fully, like trusting it blindly, because I know who is, like doing the release and who's pushing this. So that's also a very, very, very positive aspect of this, right? Like it's in many like traditional takeovers, things change in that regard, like, radically, but not here. So yeah, to answer it, yes, there's going to be final 093 release. As far as release candidates, RC builds are actually ready. Gotta check, everyone's been so caught up and busy with the transition and the migration into the Gleec like organization. But I'll be checking on that, and yeah, that's something that myself and 2-3 others that from the team will look to like be able to support as much as we can moving forward and to the future. I mean, we're not going anywhere, so we're around, and yeah.
Right. There's more questions here, and then we'll check the meeting room. So the question is about the the DEX, the revenue. Is James still doing vDEX, and is there some sort of plan for it, after this Gleec acquisition?
No, I think not. Yeah, I think with this Gleec's acquisition, I mean, before that, the situation was that James was, like running this, independently, but in 2 or 3 years there wasn't any, like worthy, like revenue stream from it. And yeah, we've kind of like like wrote it off and said, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was a project that didn't like bring the expected revenue streams and flows, and Gleec is gonna like take that over, the licensing on the revenue stream, because if they succeed with it and release it, and there's gonna be like a big part of their already existing huge user base started using this, then they earn it, right? They deserve it. What's our benefit gonna be? Well, we're still gonna have ecosystem forks and projects that utilize the same DEX network. There's gonna be liquidity, there's gonna be actual action and activity within this network. So yeah, we have to look, at it like from this perspective. I mean, obviously sucks. I'm a DEX asset holder myself, but yeah, again, we have to look at it that it wasn't giving us any value back like for years. So rather have it really find like adoption, as opposed to just dying and like that's it, and no one to maintain it in the future. I think this is the better path.
All right, and one final question from this list here. What is going to happen to the KMD coin and its future value, and why should anybody continue holding KMD, after this acquisition?
Yeah, I think personally, like it's a very subjective, like topic, and something, that might differ based on, the various people's goals and, objectives and backgrounds. And for me, actually, it's like, well, it's just speculating on, the possibility for this to, find further adoption or utilization within a new ecosystem and just being part of a new ecosystem. But there's something like I can't tell for certain, and nor anyone else could do, because we just don't know what's going to happen to the value of a coin. Right? There's an open market. We don't know right now. I mean, we can look up the rich lists and the various block explorer lists and stuff, but we wouldn't know for certain, right? Like who holds what, at what price was an entry made, where are the various risks for this, be dumped at certain levels, and we don't fully, I mean, we could look at the charts and they are not like, as deep to allow, like this analysis in regards to, like resistance and support levels and stuff. So I think it's a tough one. This is by no means any like financial advice, but it's something we don't know. We simply don't know, right? Like we don't know where the value is gonna go. I personally believe we're looking at like a bottom scenario right now, because essentially a couple of $1 million would technically buy up the cap, right? Like just, I mean, obviously not possible. It doesn't work like that, but still, just looking at it like from the current situation, it's a bottom. It was at one penny, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2, and what exactly is going to happen in the future, we don't know it for sure, and just time will tell, right? What we can say is that KMD found a new home, which has a solid foundation and a solid roof, and so nothing like to worry really about in regards to its technological, right, like future.
All right, now taking questions from the town hall chat here. A lot of people are wondering about will the Gleec CEO do a town hall to answer questions about Gleec and tell people more about it and how they envision the future changes with Komodo and with this new merger.
I mean, they'll probably be open, to some type of, like update, or, like some type of, like commentary or feedback / input. I'm not sure if they would, be willing like to join a town hall. specific in these current times, with like multiple, like licensing efforts ongoing. I mean, very busy, obviously, like, an acquisition for an organization like that is always like related with a lot of like, basically resource allocations towards the acquisition itself and the transition and migration. I literally, I'm taking like sleep time away to do this right now, and I understand some, others have, like healthier, like deals.
All right. We'll turn it over to the audience now. If there's anybody has a question that wants to ask CA directly, now's your time.
I have a question. I notice in the 9.3 desktop there's a buy sell option. Is that geofenced? Is that I assume it's KYC to buy and sell crypto, but is it geofenced and can US IPs participate, or is it strictly for the Eurozone?
Yeah, so that's like the fiat on ramp part right now. I think only the on ramp is functional, so off ramp shouldn't be enabled right now. And that is geofenced. I'm really not fully sure, like on the list, like the various countries that are geo blocked, but it's a couple. I mean, there's many that would require some, extended like KYC responsibilities on the service provider end. So basically us as being the gateway to the on ramp. But we'd have to check. I'm unsure if we have someone here in the team from QA or DevOps. No, it doesn't. I mean, I'll forward this question to the guys that really run the GeoBlock API, so we can look at the detail here in regards to who gets blocked in that section in the wallet, and I'll let you know, like in the general channel, as soon as I get response on this.
I can have some response on from the CheetahDEX development side of this. I've tested this geoblocker. I was a little bit surprised that any kind of local machine, like I'm running a kind of IP is good. I know it works in a regular kind of Windows, sort of, or even Linux, regular logging to the Komodo, everything works fine. But if I run it like a local host in my home network, which is perfect normal kind of environment, it actually gets geo-blocked. Let me put it this way. The geo-block is actually wider than what it says. So it could be like, you can think of firewalls and can have a perfect good IP, but it doesn't allow you. So that's just, I just want to mention that.
Hong, check the build instructions. There's a flag that you need to pass to disable the geoblock, like the service, which only do that if you are able to actually use the service normally in that region. But
sure. Yeah, I understand there might be a whole lot, folks need to be kind of click this and that, but I'm using CheetahDEX fork anyway, so I'm not affected. I just want to mention that it could be wider than it says, sort of like it's ongoing process. It says which country, but be surprised you are in a not unblocked region, but somehow you get blocked. It's just not to be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, just if that service isn't included for the forks. It's tied to our infrastructure. So if you don't have that configured and if you don't disable the geoblock in the build settings, then it's going to block it by default. Otherwise, it would be as simple as just blocking that domain to bypass it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, if you can access the app and the DEX from that same network on the Komodo app, then there's no reason that it would be geo-blocked. But yeah.
Is there any other questions, CA, about this acquisition?
I just want to give a little input on my opinion, guys. I know a lot of pirates are here in Komodo too, and I brought you here. I think this is going to go the way of Zcash, where Zcash is all compliant. They're just and if this is going into that direction, being a futurist, I see this as being the Zcash to the pirate, right? Where any future updates and development and whatnot with the DEX can now be forked by all the other forks of this DEX, and you could take that technology and use it for yourself, just like anything that Zcash makes. Tachyon, Orchard. Pirate didn't make that. That was made by a compliant, paid dev corporation. So, we might need them, and we might need Komodo to go into this direction so that the future of the other side of things can continue, because there are not that many devs in this realm. Am I wrong to think like that?
I completely agree. I mean, yeah, that's also goes back to the reason but why we needed to entertain the idea of KYC as well, because it's like it's great to be decentralized and do whatever we want, but in that case we're going to get like sanctioned and also like just cut off from the mainstream economy, and in that case we can't pay devs if we're not allowed on the mainstream economies, unfortunately. Yeah, but that's the beauty of open source software. I'm not sure if CA wants to comment on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to what you said, Charles, and also in regards to what LooTz basically thinks and expressed and asked is that we don't know for sure, yeah, where it's gonna like lead to. And I believe what you said, it's a one perspective and one possible outcome of like many possibilities. And so I mean, I personally see various angles here, right? Like I see community initiatives from those who really like care and like figure and want to take a stand on that and like contribute and stuff. I'm sure like the Gleec would be like open to that. Again, it's open source, it's a GitHub repo, how our devs are sitting at those repositories, keep that in mind. And in regards to a blockchain like KMD, I think from even a tech perspective, like quote unquote regulating it wouldn't make much sense. We're talking about like lower level like blockchain technologies. It's like a protocol, but the apps like that utilize it and the gateways to the users, the wallets for instance, right? Like I believe those at some point, really most of them will have to kind of like adhere to certain like regulations and rules. I believe they will otherwise like fully ban and block them, right? They'll just like isolate these tools away from the mainstream layer. It still doesn't mean that it won't be available to those who want to use it. I'm also sure that that's gonna it's gonna coexist. There's gonna be again forks, there's gonna be versions that don't have KYC there, even the day they actually enforce it for decentralized software. It's just a logical like implication. If there's something and it's just like it doesn't allow certain things, but you could do it in a way that would allow it, someone's gonna do it. That's just all I can add. And one thing I could see here is like pirate, like being and remaining like the one again, like anonymous team. There's no entity, no structure behind it, just a bunch of like crypto punks and like kind of like privacy OGs. So that could be one angle. But yeah, we don't know for sure. I think future will show. And but yeah, I mean, I'm personally I'm confident, and I think this whole like event, it's a highly positive one.
Can I speak a few sentences out here? I actually speak in the prior session already. I think what Luca, sort of say that community should have more forks better, like CheetahDEX. I totally agree. The more forks, better for the whole developer team, safety, resilience, everything is good, because you can say the Komodo official team, Gleec team is regulated. You got to do whatever you got to do, right? Follow the regulations, local KYC, whatever you do, that's fine. So, but the more forks, the more less danger. You can't point me. It's not. There's no proof that my fork CheetahDEX has the issue, right? So, the better the build, the more resilient the whole community. That is good for everybody. So the more forks, get rid of the geo blockers. You look at the CheetahDEX commit history, pretty easy to do, right? So follow the commit histories, follow the installations. Maybe you build yourself a web page, or follow the CheetahDEX install, guideline, do whatever you want. So that's actually is good for everybody.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, even like for forkers, and those who utilize it on their own, projects and products. Our GUI guys, I mean, Charles, himself, Nitride, add the feature where you just, when you build the app, you just add one config parameter, one build parameter, and it doesn't have the geoblock like enabled, right? I mean, it's a dev tag. It's something, for devs to test it. So please do not abuse it.
If I may, I would also just congratulate the team. I mean, I know it's difficult when a project is not going anywhere and then to hang on. And yeah, I'm happy for the core team who made it, to have the possibility to continue under different reigns. Just as a comment, I found that, yeah, the way of how the things were communicated and went down seemed a bit, yeah, had a strange taste to me. I mean, it's like I see also in the chat. I mean, it was like Charles, PTYX, is already in the Gleek team since 2 years or so, if I'm not mistaken, is doing there the blockchain development. This is not stated anywhere in all these statements. And then it felt to me a bit like an inside deal, like, yeah, that the Gleek came and bought, and that there was no, yeah, other bidding for maybe even a different offer, or even an emergency funding from the community. This is the points I would like to give you for the future.
Yeah, thanks for the input, and for the advice, and we'll definitely like reflect on that. But also, like, just to clarify, as for Charles himself, PTYX, he's basically been like the bridge between us and Gleece, and the like the active part, or one of the active parts of collaboration, was around like 2 years ago, and he kept going like until very recently. Like, we were supporting them with the various like efforts, with like technological assistance when he came like to third parties and stuff. So he wasn't really like an in-house team member from them, but he definitely was like a key advisory role, and the bridge between us, the tech people, like the low level engineers, and Glee's team. And the thing is, like, if there would have been, like, alternative, like, options, also looking at what we need, and I mean, it wouldn't be possible, like, for even like our community, like, to run any type of sustainable, like, supportive funding or so, right? Like, you'd need like a heavyweight, entity with actual funding to do that. That's really just like what I can, add, like, from my like, insights into the org, the expenses, the infrastructure overhead. I mean, we were talking like, 100 servers plus. I mean, that's not including, like, not a Renode network, expenses, and that, like, infrastructure stack, the subsidy on that. I mean, essentially the ecosystem as such, running that is not cheap, right? Like, that on its own is really, it's a huge, like, overhead. Again, yeah, pulling my hat there, like, like from Noah and James, and the whales and those who fund and support the ecosystem, because I can tell you, like, from the front, line, that that isn't cheap. But yeah, no, thank you, thank you, Mobius. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just hope that
Uh,
it's not going down like the Mandala exchange they bought, and then 2 years later there's no one of the original team left. I mean, hope
yeah,
the best for you.
I as from what I understand, we're like a completely separate new unit, so that does bode well. But yeah, CA didn't mention it, but CA like had many sleepless nights trying to get something to work to keep the project on. Like, it wasn't looking too good towards the end. So no, this was like yeah, CA really like pulled off something big here. And yeah, I'm not at liberty to divulge the details, but the team and the project is going to be taken well care of, and the parts that are important to the community at the moment, they're not going to disappear. And from what I can tell, the higher ups respect that, and are gonna keep that around. But again, the
Last
the
one,
roadmap will be
because you
come. Yeah.
you speak always about the team, but I haven't read a statement who of the core team isn't going over to Greece. I mean, if you can
At the
post this
moment, like,
somewhere, that would be fun.
at the moment, like we're still like in the midst of like the HR stuff, so it's still like bureaucracy and all of that. But all just like it is at the moment, I mean, we'll be transparent about that, and you'll be able to even see the Gleek organization on GitHub what there is. But yeah, no, I mean, we'll be as open and transparent as we can. Just the past, like since the details have been hashed out, there's hardly been any like actually technical considerations. It's just been a lot of paperwork, and also yeah, like CA mentioned, there is a lot of servers, and each of them we needed to go through and see what it is, what's needed to migrate it, etc., etc. So yeah, there really is no hidden agenda and all around the team. Yeah, I was also a bit like concerned because Gleek is like a big corporation. They're quite a big organization, but I can confidently say that the project is going to be taken well care of, and we're still going to have some say. We're still going to have say over the project. So yeah, but yeah, the Gleek GitHub org is already around, so yeah, you can connect the dots there as well.
All right.
Yeah.
There's any other questions? Time is now. Otherwise, we will begin wrapping this up.
Sorry,
All
what
right.
did we say earlier about the swap contest? Will there be, or then later in the Gleek? Or we don't know.
We don't know now for sure. However, with 093 rolling out, the infra, being up, and the tech working, it's at the end of the day, it's up to us. It's up to the community. If we say, yeah, we're gonna do a contest and everything, I mean, we put together just something like for the rewards, and that's not gonna be like too crazy. And we can just run this as a community led and initiated event, right? Like it wouldn't really need anyone else like to do that. And yeah, so I think that's something that the community, right, like aka us, all of us, like can put up, yeah, and set up.
That'd be great. I mean, I'd really enjoy this. I mean, with Honglu, I mean, Honglu also, you pushed over more than 10,000 of trades over the infrastructures I did this year. Yeah, I was hoping to end it with a firework, if we may.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, myself, I'm in with that. Yeah, enjoying it as well.
Hey, guys, this is still a town hall meeting, so let me give you a marketing update. I want everybody in the community and pirate community to start making music because music in history has always helped change the world. So, and that's why there's so many musicians. And, they're very, very rebellious type of people, right? So Suno, I believe it's called Suno.ai, or it's an AI, guys. Go check it out. We're gonna make a competition as to who can make the best song. The most addicting song to listen to, the most, the one that people like the most. And we'll make that a contest. And so start sharpening up your skills and start making some music. And I just urge you to use it for like 10 minutes and you'll see how easy it is and how awesome it can make music so easily. So let's make that happen. Let's make a new contest. I don't know what contest you guys are talking about, but I'm good. Let's make a new one. All right. Sharpen up your musical skills and everything you want to say, put it in your song. That's the best part about it. I like it. I actually been turning my speeches and talks into music, which is really awesome. All right, guys. So that's my update on the marketing side. Have a good day.
All right, guys. We'll wrap up this meeting. We'll try to get the Gleek CEO in to answer your guys' questions, as well as discuss, some of the additional stuff that will come from this merger. One of the things me and CA have been discussing is, a benefit with a revenue generation project that we are working on for the ecosystem. So we'll discuss that next week as well. If there's any other questions that come to mind from you guys during the week, drop them in our general channel and we can bring them up here next week. But I guess, yeah, that's it for tonight. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll see you again next week.
stories told anew. Gleec made a move for the Komodo crew. A deal for 23.5 million in hand to acquire the tech across the land. They bought the brand, the suite, the core, and opened up a brand new door. The DX, the token, all the devs, a cross-chain stack that now Gleec with. Oh, Gleec and Komodo, a brand new start, a fusion play in a different part, from atomic swaps to a regulated plan. Now the partners hand in hand. No more bridges, no more fear. A new frontier is finally here with Komodo's taking Gleec's might. They're gonna shine and burn so bright. No more wrapped assets, no more risky chains, just native swaps to ease the pains. They're dodging hacks, they're dodging strife with Komodo's atomic swap life. They got a debit card and an IBAN. The future's looking like a master plan. The CEO said this is the key to wider compliance for you and me. Oh, Gleec and Komodo, a brand new start, a fusion play in a different part, from atomic swaps to a regulated plan. Now the partners hand in hand. No more bridges, no more fear. A new frontier is finally here with Komodo's taking Gleec's might. They're gonna shine and burn so bright. The KMD token, what will be its fate? The community will have to wait. Integration by 26, they say, to light a brighter, better day. Exodus made a big splash too. This is what the new world do. DeFi and finance start to merge upon a brand